On your knees.
Okay, chop it off.
Number
Chop it off. Let's
5,
do it.
Dungeons and Dragons: Honor Among Thieves. Most of the biggest 2023 action movies have drawn inspiration from intellectual properties. And Dungeons and Dragons: Honor Among Thieves represented a major do-over for the popular role-playing franchise, centering on charming rogue agent Darvis Crispine, assembling an adventure party of outcasts to recover a magical artifact. The movie lovingly tips its hat to the lore of the gaming franchise. Honor Among Thieves had plenty of fantasy shenanigans and D Easter eggs without sacrificing its keen sense of humor.
Our flight has gone down. This is an emergency.
Number 5, Plane. Though the one-word title didn't inspire much confidence, the straight-to-VOD 2023 action movie Plane broke free of its budgetary limitations after his passenger airplane is struck by lightning. Pilot Brody Torrance Gerard Butler is forced to make an unscheduled landing. The indie action romp banked heavily on the star power of Butler to carry the film, and his honest performance elevated the material, along with the rest of the stellar cast of Plane, relying more on suspense and tension than explosive action. Plane succeeded because it added weight to its story, and each moment had grave consequences for the story's outcome.
You're gonna need this.
Former military or something?
You could say that. Family again. What about their families? We're getting off this island.
John, you have tallies approaching.
Number 3 is Guy Ritchie's The Covenant. Action auteur Guy Ritchie returned to cinemas in 2023 with a more understated outing. And yet, Guy Ritchie's The Covenant checked all the boxes of a brilliant action war movie. During the war in Afghanistan, Master SKT, John Kinley Jake Gyllenhaal, is wounded in battle and must be escorted across miles of enemy terrain by interpreter Ahmed Abdullah Yousfi. Guy Ritchie's The Covenant opted for gripping suspense, and the knife-edge thrills are much more rewarding than any amount of copious fighting. Gyllenhaal's performance was particularly strong, was a subtler but no less effective war film than many in recent memory. Number 2 is Creed 3, which allowed the titular character to finally get out from the shadow of his legendary boxing mentor. Boxer Adonis Creed is riding high when a figure from his past, Damian Anderson, returns to challenge him physically and emotionally. Taking over directing duties for the first time, Michael B. Jordan pulled brilliant double duty in the 2023 action movie, and his vision was a grittier take than the previous two films. Though the plot was somewhat predictable, the emotional action outside the ring crackled with as much life as the bloody battles within the squared circle. Number 1 in this list is Sisu. Even as revenge-based action franchises like John Wick grow increasingly over the top, the Finnish film Sisu upped the ante even further in the dying days of WWII. Finnish prospector Atami Jorma Tamala is robbed by a retreating band of Nazis and exacts his bloody revenge, though Sisu is not based on a true story. The sizzling backdrop of WWII made for a fascinating addition to the revenge subgenre. As for its action sequences, director Jalmari Helander opted for copious violence and gore that bordered on the absurd. And the catharsis of the revenge was play out on an epic scale.
Finnish commando lost his home and his family in the war. He became a one-man death squad. He's one mean motherfucker that you do not want to mess with.
Everything from him.
You really believe?
No. We have a word for that in Finland.
We might have a problem.